Night here, we had a nice sell-off. Futures traded around -1% almost all night long. But by open, you can see we had recovered quite a bit here, and we were testing that key 402.2 level. At open, we had a pretty convincing rejection that we were not going to completely fill the gap to the upside, which is kind of what happened 2 Fridays ago. Where we had that big old gap to the upside, and we only filled about all of it, but maybe 20 or 30 cents, and then we dumped after that. So it was pretty convincing that right here, this 403.4 is going to be pretty heavy support, or resistance, I mean. And then we broke down nicely, and then out of nowhere, that 401.4 level that futures was pretty much stuck at all night long, found support, and pretty much from 11 until 145, it was just a pretty big rip up. Interesting enough, though, at the 1230, the 115, the 245 candle, there was times, and you can see even this one was a massive wick too. There was times where it was very bearish, but the last like 2 to 3 minutes, sometimes not even that, of the 15-minute candle would go from, as you can see, I mean, we were down here, and then they would close it all the way up here. So, I mean, we were seeing almost dollar size moves in the last minute to 2 minutes of the 15-minute candles. But finally, end of day here, the bears, I guess, took control, which is interesting enough, because if you look at the volume, this candle was only 4.7 mil, which, yes, it was a lot more volume than all day that we had seen, but for the size of the sell-off that we had, it really wasn't that impressive with volume. So for now, I'm just watching key levels of 405.5 and 401.4. But let's go ahead and take a look at the daily here. So I'm working under a red bull channel possibility using these resistance with this projected support. So that gives a projected support right here at that key 402.1. So if we were to hold 402.1 all night long, we could bounce there, and we actually could retest 405.3. So the bulls attempted to break back into this gray channel right here, and however, they were not able to hold 405.3, so that is bearish. I talked about playing level to level. You see we broke down through this level. We just essentially reconfirmed that we're not getting back into that level. So as long as we're below 405.3, I am bearish. And then we also have this blue channel right here working down. So I was also looking at last Monday, or Thursday, Monday and Tuesday. You can see we had the big red move, and then we had a doji, gravestone doji setup. Nearly identical. This week was a little different because obviously we had the build-up going into Jackson Hole, so it'll be interesting to see if we get a reversal up or if we actually can kind of continue down. Gravestone dojis on a drop are not necessarily like considered a reversal, though. It actually would be more of a continuation, so something to keep in mind. Some interesting things, so Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Support potential for the week would be 39.4 if we are staying in this channel. This is just a projected support using today's candle, though, so this support is going to move over time. But resistance for that line is at 412.7, and then if we're in the red channel is 424.3. So key levels to keep an eye on. Most important level, though, is going to remain 405.3, and as long as we hold into there, we should see 391, 390 to 391. The SPY weekly is interesting. We have the resistance line right here, which puts weekly resistance at 409.3. and puts our support where we're at right now at that low of 401.2. You can see we're actually in a falling wedge right now. So if we were to hold 401.2 all week, we actually could be seeing a fairly big bounce up next week. However, if we break down through support, then we could see bigger sell-off. Key levels are 390 and 412. Futures, same thing. We got this nice red bull channel. So this is actually kind of being reconfirmed by the next day's candle that just opened on futures right now for this red potential bull channel up. It gives support right here at 40.30 for overnight, and then key resistance will be 40.60 overnight, which is that low from, which is equivalent to that 405.2 for SPY. Blue channel, so you got Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday right here at the second. We have a potential low of 39.56 if we're in the blue channel, but resistance for sure would be 41.58, and then potential to even rip all the way up to 43.27 if we're in a big red bull channel. Futures weekly, same thing. That 40.32 level, 40.30, will be key support for this falling wedge. I do suspect we're probably going to end up breaking down through it, and we'll test down in this 3,900 range though. So looking at Apple, interesting enough about Apple and SPY today. So despite not really having like a totally like super bearish day with only a negative 0.66 day for SPY, we put in 102% of the 30-day average on the volume. So that actually is bearish, that the volume is picking up again, which means there is a lot of selling coming in. So it's not just buyers anymore. So that's something to watch throughout the week. Same thing happened with Apple. It hit 73.3 mil today, which is 110% of its 30-day average. So that means there was a ton of buying and selling happening on Apple today. The higher the volume, and we can look at the volume trend here, the higher the volume usually does indicate downside, especially once you've been in a low volume trade like we have been here. So that's something that we'll keep in mind as the week goes on to watch how volume's doing. So Apple actually has a little bit nicer of a chart than any of them. So if you see we have the support hits on the 16th and the 30th, that gives us a projected support for tomorrow at 156.5, for Wednesday at 157.3, and then pretty much perfectly with the blue at 157.6, which also gap fills on Thursday. Thursday's the first, right? Yep, for Thursday. So that's a level that I'm definitely watching, and I'm actually targeting right now with some longer DTE puts. Key resistance for Friday is going to be 167.5 if we're in this downward blue, and then potential the lowest we could see maybe is 156.7 if we hold this. Key though is going to be watching this red support. We held the 50 EMA today, and overall I would say Apple looked more bearish than SPY did throughout the whole day. So with this true doji right here, it'll be interesting to see if we get a continuation or if we're going to see more of a sell-off tomorrow. Looking at Apple Weekly, same thing with the falling wedge. You have that key 159.8. However, resistance is more up here at 166.4 if we were to get a big green week ahead of us here. But basically, I'm watching this resistance line, and I'm planning on playing level to level. So I'm in some Friday and next Friday DTE puts at the money with a plan to take profits either at 157.5, depending on how fast we get there, or especially 154 if we were to hit that this week. So be about a $7 drop, about a 5 or so percent drop total for the 5 or 6% total drop for Apple this week. So kind of where I'm targeting right now. Looking at the VIX, had a big opening, kind of fell down. It retested 25.5, and it's still holding that key 25.5 to 34.7 trading range that I had mentioned before that we've spent most of 2022 in. So as long as VIX is above 25.5, and with this bounce and closing up over 26, I suspect us to continue up, and eventually we're going to hit above the 30s, maybe around CPI time. Kind of what I'm watching. Next is crypto, watching Bitcoin here. We have a potential for a nice double top right here at 20.3K, so that's where I'm going to be watching. You can see that support was established at 19.5 though, so if we do get a bigger breakdown this week, that's where we'll be watching for Bitcoin. Thanks for tuning into this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you like what you saw, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button to stay updated. I am providing my Discord link right here. That's a lifetime link. If it doesn't work, go ahead and send me a message and I will get you a new link. I do have a pre-market update I do every day where I update with supports and resistances and different scenarios that might play out through the day. I also do a live commentary throughout the day with updates and changes, and I do push out buy and sell alerts on SPY and other tickers that I'm trading at the time. Currently, membership is $20 per month or $228 per year. You can follow me on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, or TikTok under SPY Optionaire, or Reddit under Daddy Dirsch.